Hi everybody, it's Heather Cox, your roving reporter. I'm here at Oakley Elementary School in a very special space. I will let my guest introduce herself.
Hello, my name is Nefertiti Singleton, and I am the project-based learning lab teacher here at Oakley Elementary.
Okay, so tell us, because I know a lot of schools do not have project-based learning labs, tell us exactly what that means for you.
Well, last year I had a conversation with my principal about project-based learning. Just wanted to know more, wanted to figure out what it really entailed. And from that conversation came a job opening that was available to me, and I, along with 4 other staff members, we applied and I got the position. It was a pretty rigorous, process between an interview panel and an entry lesson, and then being told whether or not you would get it. But it was here nevertheless, and then all of it kind of came out of just a random conversation that moved into something bigger, way more than I would have thought.
That's so exciting because it just speaks to the point that you have to say something when it's important to you and it matters. Now, when I first walked in, what I noticed immediately about this space was how bright it is and how inspiring. And one thing, and we'll show you that, but one thing, it's just you look around and everything is so engaging. So tell us a little bit about the room and how it's designed.
Well, the design initially came from the 21st Century Classroom of Innovation that is actually downtown in the Twin Towers.
Okay.
Our principal took us on a field trip last year to go and see it as a staff. And so we saw like all of the awesome furniture, workspaces, and how it was outfitted. And then I assumed that was her vision in this lab. And so once I was told that I could kind of decide how things were gonna go, then it kind of just took it. It kind of took, its own time, and this is what was birthed out of it. So having the collaborative space with the interactive tables, the ottomans, having everything in here on wheels.
I know.
Has been interesting.
Yeah, well, I'm sure with elementary kids, that's incredibly interesting. As an adult, that's so cool because you can rearrange the space in every way you want.
Yes.
I'm sure the kids on the wheels, the tables on the wheels.
Yes, everything is on wheels. It does. And so our computer lab now has this same type of setup. So I think they're kind of now starting to come down off of it. But at the beginning, it was a lot. It was a lot.
So tell us how the lab works with the students. Does everybody come in? How does the scheduling take place?
Yes, and I see everyone twice a year.
Okay.
We have a STEM lab and we have a project-based learning lab.
Okay.
So we work on a 9-week rotation.
Oh,
so I will see, for instance, at the beginning of the year, I saw grades 3 through 5 the first 9 weeks, whereas the STEM lab teacher was seeing K2. And then we switched. So I saw K2 the last 9 weeks, and then she was seeing 3, 5. Our STEM lab teacher, her name is Booker. And so we just bounce off each other. And so I see 3 through 5 first and third, and then I see K2 second and fourth quarters.
Okay. Tell us about some of the projects. One of the things that I really liked when I saw is those driving questions. You have what grade level is working on that right now?
Well, I'm seeing grades 3 through 5.
Okay.
This is actually presentation week for 3 through 5 right now. And so each project does start with the driving question. It's the question that's supposed to be pondering throughout the whole project so that at the end they could actually answer it. We're actually doing a Black History series. So all 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders were working on projects that were focused around that. So at the beginning, I put these different little anticipation guides around the school, or usually the 2nd floor, because that's where 3rd through 4th and 5th graders are. And it just had a simple tagline that said, "They're coming." And there were a lot of African-American depictions of pictures and people under. And so they're kind of just walking the hall like, what? Who put that there? What's going on? They're who? What do you mean they're coming? Did they die? Like, it's a lot kind of going on, but just enough to kind of build enough of the anticipation. And so once they got in and saw that it was their project, they were like, oh, I get it. And so each grade level has an opportunity to work on a separate project, but still surrounding the Black History theme.
Okay.
And so the 3rd graders, their driving question, they have like an umbrella driving question, and then one for each class.
Okay.
So the umbrella driving question for 3rd grade is, what if there were no civil rights leaders? So in third grade,
one.
it's a huge one. In third grade, in social studies, they have a civil rights standard. Then there are particular civil rights leaders that are in there, but I took it and kind of widened it so that it would be a little more in depth for more people that the standard would call for. And so from there are 6 third grade classes. So each of them have a different civil rights leader from a different era that kind of lended itself to be a part of what it all needed to be for the people at that time. And so we covered the people in their standard are Frederick Douglass and Thurgood Marshall. Those are the people they had to know. But the other people I pulled in were Jackie Robinson for sports, of course Dr. King for overall the movement, the Little Rock Nine because of school, along with Ruby Bridges with school as well. And so we've covered all masses, but then they have to pretty much do the research, starting from the driving question and think in the negative. And so it has been interesting trying to get them to think about how life would be if they never did any of the things that they set out to do. And once that work started, they had to then come up with plausible reasons, points to ponder as to how life would be different. And then they got some voice and choice in how they would decide as a team which reasons would be the ones that they would actually put in their presentations. And then from there, each class has a different presentation tool that they're actually using to present this information.
There's so many things in there that I love. I love that you've got the personalized learning pieces in there, the fact that it's all tied to standards, that it's relevant and real to these students. This is important pieces of information that they can really connect with, which is so amazing. And all of the driving questions, starting with that what if. I mean, having students think in those terms, and not just answering a question that they can open a book and there's the answer. Having something where they have to pull the different pieces of information is just, to me, it's just a fascinating project. Tell us also, I mentioned personalized learning, what are some other ways that the lab or the job lends itself to personalized learning?
I think the voice and choice, the demonstrating mastery of learning, those two a lot.
Yes.
Because of the different projects that are that the students get to choose from, and then the way that they get to choose how they want to represent their information. The catch-22 with this position is that I only see each student one time a week. So it's only 50 minutes one time a week. And I try to make it a little longer. And thank you to my colleagues because they get it. But it gets interesting. But it's not a special this year, so it's a part of their day.
Oh, and I love that even more.
Yeah, so it's like they go to specials, they go wherever, and then whatever day they come once a week to the lab is a day that their teacher probably is not teaching science and social studies. And so they get that from me. But not all projects are science social studies based. It just kind of ends up being whatever they feel is appropriate or what's going on with the theme and what's going on in their classroom. So I try to piggyback on what's going on in there, so it's not totally irrelevant, because it has to fit the standards. But those two, I feel like I've gained the most experience from, and they've actually walked away saying, wow, okay, I know so many different presentation tools now, because I was able to choose which one I wanted to present this way. And I don't do every class that way. It just kind of comes along with this, with abilities, with time, with pacing, that kind of things. But definitely the 4th and 5th graders are able, because they are a little more tech savvy in some of the areas, so they're able to kind of pick up and go, and I don't have to drive as much as I do in 3rd grade.
Much more student-led.
Yes, way much more student-led. The 4th grade projects, for instance, they're doing a digital scrapbook through a tool called Cliptomize. And so they're doing Black History scrapbooks, and they were able to choose a person that they felt that they admired, or someone that they would want to know if they were still alive, or they could choose a family member, someone just from their own lineage that they want to highlight. And from there, they had to put together a pretty extensive 12 to 14 page scrapbook of different things that they would have to highlight in their lives, from creating a letter, from writing from their point of view, dear, my name, I am so-and-so. And in the letter, you're supposed to learn more about them. They had to create a postage stamp, as if the stamp were, if they were going to be able to buy a stamp today. This is what it could be. They had to create diary entries and a pic collage and a death announcement if the person passed away. If the person, if Instagram, social media at this point, if Instagram were around during the time that person was living, what posts would they have? Would they want the world to know? It's just been interesting trying to get everyone to think globally about how these people's lives have affected us all in some kind of way, especially with the skin that they're in. So that kind of thing has been really relevant, and it's been interesting seeing the process because it's been different for everybody. You know, from me to their teachers that actually are in here with me, so we co-teach. So they don't necessarily just drop and go, which is awesome. And then the students just really get a chance to kind of define for them what this all looks like. You know, and that's been nice to kind of see in the process.
Yeah, well, it's nice that they then, like you said, they're here with you, they're co-teaching, so they can take that information, transfer it into their own teaching. I know I certainly would have loved to be in a class like this. That would have been something I would have thoroughly enjoyed. Now, you mentioned presentation week, so kind of wrap up the PBL stuff for us, and what happens at the end? What are they going to do now?
During the first semester when I met, we had a PBL and STEM night. PBL night. So it was really cool. So it was operating in 2 areas. And so the parents were able, business partners, community members, we involved them all, were able to kind of come in and see what the students were working on. Well, this time around, because even when I met with K2, and I need to definitely talk about them, the K2 projects were not tech-based this time around when I saw them this past. And so I need people to understand that project-based learning doesn't have to be all about technology.
Absolutely.
It's super cool to actually see them working with their hands-on things, just learning about the world around them in a different way. I do plan to incorporate technology this time around with them. But one really nice presentation that the kindergartners did is they created their own community called Kinderville. So they decided that they wanted these, you know, certain businesses and certain places to learn and certain things to do in their community, and they made a life-size model of this Kinderville, and it was absolutely awesome. But so just letting people understand that, you know, in each grade level there is something that these students can do. Even in our special needs pre-K class, the teacher took this on and just went with it, and her whole class did a farming unit, and it was just really nice to just see all the different skills from project-based learning kind of come in, because I had to do a training with all of our teachers on our RFF days, and they had to come to the lab, and they were, you know, in training like the students on what this all looks like. So when we lead up to presentation week, it basically just rounds out everything that we've done, and it gives our business partners, other teachers, other students an opportunity to come in and weigh in on what the students are doing. And so I have 3rd graders presenting to 5th graders. I have 3rd graders presenting to 2nd graders. I have 4th graders presenting to business partners. I have 5th graders presenting to administrators. As long as they have an opportunity to have a public product to present outside of myself and their teacher, then I feel like I've done, you know, the work to get the sustained inquiry and time for them to reflect.
There's such a purpose to it when they have an audience, when they know that, when they know it's not just for a grade, and they know it's not just for you and you're just putting something in the grade book, you know, when it has meaning, when they have an audience, which I really like about that. And so do they choose the way that they present? This year, no. Because it's been a lot of newness for me, and what I'm learning also is that I have to step back in certain areas and truly become a facilitator and not so much the keeper of knowledge, because they're learning and they're teaching me some things along the way as well, because some of my 5th graders, they are so tech savvy to the point where every week they're like, hey, I got to tell you. We need to have a tech cafe because I got all this stuff going on. And so I've kind of mapped out, you know, in that respect, which ways they present to people as far as audiences, but in the unique sense about them having opportunities to have their stuff online, they can present it anywhere to anyone. So their parents can automatically see. When on Class Dojo, I'll let them know that presentations are up on the PBL website. If you'd like to go in, please comment. So at the page, we have Padlet pages where they can just kind of go in and click on things to just kind of see
what's going on, to document the process. Excuse me. But it gives them an opportunity to not feel like just what's going on in here, in these four walls, and these are the only people that are going to be able to see it. And so I tweet often, you know, what's going on, and you know, so anybody can just view the my project-based learning website to kind of find what's going on in the classroom and what the students ultimately ended up doing with their projects.
I mean, and to me, that's really an indicator of a great teacher, is that you're willing to learn from the students, be okay that they know more in times, and that you reflected on your practice. You know, being that it's your first run through, I would imagine, you know, you'd find things you'd want to do differently.
Definitely.
You know, so I think that's amazing that you are saying these are some things that I would do differently next time. You know, it has been awesome to come here. I am thrilled. This is one of the best parts of this Roving Reporter job, is being able to see amazing things that may have been hiding, and now everybody gets to see it. So share what your shirt says. Oh. I teach PBL. What's your superpower? That is amazing.
Shout out to 3D printing.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. I'm sure that if you have questions, you are probably more than welcome to ask those, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.